Trucks. Ford Trucks. Official truck of the Boston Red Sox.
We're going to drive to left field. There are a couple runs. Way gone.
Arbella. Here for good. And by Morgan & Morgan. America's largest injury law firm.
Long gone into the monster seats.
Sponsored by Town Fair Tire. For the best prices on tires, nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. Dig Safe. Click digsafe.com or call 811 before you dig. Cape Cod Lumber. Find the lumber for your next project. cclco.com.
Holy cow.
Sponsored by Sherwin-Williams. Savings and support start day one. Unlock the Pro Advantage at swproplus.com today. Sponsored by Herb Chambers. At Herb Chambers, we don't sell cars. We help people buy them.
This has been a presentation of Odyssey Sports. For even more coverage of your team, download the free Odyssey app and listen to your favorite stations, shows, and podcasts.
The Brady Farkas Show is produced and funded by WDEV and the Radio Vermont Group. We welcome listener feedback. Email your comments to wdev@radiovermont.com.
The energy. How does anybody live and drive in Boston every single day? This guy stopped in the middle of the road with his hazard lights on. This guy won't yield. That guy won't let you go. That guy passes in front of you. That guy goes 3 lanes of traffic all in one shot. How does anybody do this?
The passion.
Look, if the Red Sox aren't going to play Yoshida and Devers as they're about to get swept, then we might as well just give up and go home.
The opinions on all your favorite teams.
I'm glad that Mac Jones looks better. That's really important. He needs to look better. But if it were a video game, he'd still have an overall rating of 76, and that ain't cutting it.
This is the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
What's up, everybody? Brady Farkas Show back at it on a Thursday here on WDEV AM and FM and WDEVradio.com. Now, that was fun. Okay, that was fun, people. 17 runs, 24 hits, a laugher victory, an easy victory, a game where you pick up a game in the standings in the wild card race. That game had it all. A great pitching performance by Brian Bayo. A great continued opening series for Will Abreu, who hits the first home run of his career. 17-1, a laugher over the Astros. There's almost nothing I love in baseball more than an Astros loss. I hate the Astros. I'm jealous of the Astros. I'm resentful of the Astros. I'm tired of the Astros. And here we go. The Red Sox pummeled the Astros, and ultimately they do get the series split. And looking at it right now, the Red Sox are 3.5 games back of both Seattle and Houston in the American League wild card. Let me give credit where credit's due. It's a great response for the Red Sox over the last 2 days because they looked horrible in the first 2 games of this series, and they had dropped to 5.5 back of Houston, 5 back of Seattle. And you're starting to think, okay, this thing can really go sideways. They can get run out of the building here when it comes to the standings, and their playoff odds can be 0 very, very quickly. You come out yesterday, you come from behind. You didn't get the dominant Chris Sale start that we wanted, but you come from behind, get the extra inning win, hold on, some tense moments in extra innings, but you get the win. And then today you come out right from the jump, leadoff home run from Alex Verdugo, and you roll here. You do get the split. The Red Sox are at the point of the season where they need more than splits, right? They need to win series. They need to really pick up games. But given where they were early in this series, this was a good salvage. So credit to where credit's due. Credit to Brian Bayo, who saved the bullpen here, went 7 innings, pitched excellently. Give him a lot of praise as well. And the offense was great up and down the lineup. So here's what's going to happen, okay? I'm here. Danny McKivergan is here engineering the show. You'll hear from him a little bit as well. We got some stuff on the Red Sox. We got stuff on the Patriots that I want to get to today. Also, because the game ended at a weird time, we've got some extra commercials, so we're going to break here in a little while before CBS News. So as a result, I'm not going to go fully deep into the game knowing we're going to have to break. So you can get in 802-585-3026. That's 802-585-3026. Danny, let go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And here we go.
The opening thoughts of the Brady Farkas Show are brought to you by Six and Stuff and by Swanton Lumber, Vermont's most complete locally owned home center with locations in Enosburg, Derby, Middlesex, St. Albans, and at Swanton Lumber. They're online at sixandstuff.com, the new location in Rouse's Point as well. Again, we'll get into the Red Sox game. We will do that right at, just after 6 o'clock. We'll kind of dig fully into this. But let me just tell you this, Danny, I want a little, I don't want to brag, but I want a little bit of praise from you. Just a little bit. You know what I did today?
What'd you do?
First time I've ever shot below a 90 in golf. Okay, when we have these Red Sox games that happen in the middle of the day, and when I know that we're not going to have a newscast, I tend to get out and play some early morning golf. And I made myself kind of early morning today. Like I like to play golf in the afternoon, but today I went out early. I met my dad. We always play when we meet just over the border in New York at this place, in Fort Anne, New York. So it's like a 2-hour drive from the studio. So it takes some time to get there. But when I know I've got the time, I like to meet him out there and do it. It's a fairly forgiving course. So let's not act like I was under 90 at Augusta here. But it's the first time I've ever shot under a 90 before. And this was as well as I can play. It's better than I've ever played in my life. I shot an 88, and like a fairly legitimate 88. Like my dad and I, we'll have our own kind of Farkas rules. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not totally legitimate. Like give myself one mulligan per 9 holes. The very occasional breakfast ball when you shank a drive. But by and large, this was a legitimate 88. And this was the best I've ever played. Like I played with him recently at a different course that we've met that we'll also meet at. And I shot like a 104. So like traditionally I'm kind of in that like 95 to 98 range places. I would not say that I'm good. There's no world where I would say that I am good at golf. There's just kind of, okay, were you embarrassing or were you serviceable? Generally, I'm in the serviceable range, where I can shoot. Okay, I'll get a couple of 4s, blended with a couple of 6s, and of course, I'll throw in an 8 or 2 over the course of 18. Today, the best I have ever played, shot an 88, a 41 on the front 9, a 47 on the back 9. And for the people who are golfers out there, I think you can attest an 88 is fairly good. And again, the course is open. It's fairly forgiving, but it's still a golf course, right? It was not a par 3 for people who want to make that joke on the text line. I'm waiting for it. No, it was not a par 3. Real golf course, 18 holes with woods, with water, with sand trap, with hazards out there. And I navigated it well. And I hit some shots that I have no idea how I did it. And I'm sure the next time we play, I will shoot 104 again. Especially now that I'm bragging about it, I'll shoot 107 probably as my punishment. That's how the golf gods work. The golf gods gave me today, and then will probably punish me extensively on the next one. But this was the best that I have ever played. And I am completely thrilled to have played that way. This is a great feeling to actually look and feel like you know what you're doing for one day on the golf course. Danny, are you a golfer?
I'm not.
Have you ever gone golfing?
No, actually.
You have to get into it. It's addicting. I used to think I would never like it. I thought only old people played it. I thought it was boring. I thought it was slow moving. It is addicting, especially now I am still young enough and athletic enough to play other things, right? I've played men's league baseball forever. I still play men's league hoops. Everybody hears me talk about that. So I can play other things. It's not like this is all that I have. But as I get older, it gets harder and harder to find places to do those things. Golf is something that is there. It's accessible. It's easy to find. It's something that my dad and I can do together. I highly recommend it. Danny, I didn't pick it up until about 27. I didn't even start to think about it. So you're not at 27 yet. So you got some time, but I highly recommend getting into it. It is fun. It is addicting. It can absolutely be maddening. It is difficult. It can be expensive. I totally get all of that, but it's been worth it. I've enjoyed learning how to play, and I've enjoyed getting better. All right.
Thanks for the invite.
There you go. Well, I knew you had to be here a little earlier today. I knew you had to be here a little earlier, so maybe next time. All right, we're going to get into the Red Sox. They beat the Astros 17-1. We'll do it after CBS News. We'll be right back here on the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV, AM and FM, WDEVradio.com.
New England Municipal Resource Center, NEMRIC, proudly supporting local government, local businesses, and WDEV.
Waterbury invites you to think local, buy local, and be local by experiencing our many recreational opportunities with something for everyone in your group. You can hike, bike, walk, run, paddle, skate, and stroll, and even swim in Waterbury. Between the Perry Hill Bike Trails, Little River State Park, and Waterbury Reservoir, there's year-round fun for all levels. Our small businesses and colorful mix of restaurants have everything you need to create an unforgettable experience. Even your dog will have a great time.
Brave Coffee and Tea has been providing fresh roasted coffees and hand-picked organic teas from our roastery in Waterbury since 2013. We are dedicated to creating flavors that will fit your tastes. Whether you buy it at your local grocery store, your favorite coffee shop, or use our online subscription service, there is always something to satisfy your cravings. Be bold, be brave, be unstoppable. Visit our website at bravecoffee.com to purchase or find your nearest retailer. Brave Coffee. Better coffee, better life.
Are you ready to Moxie? Join us for Copley's annual Gravel Moxie ride on October 14th. Riders can choose from a 50-mile ride that challenges them with curves, slopes, and hills while greeted by views of Mount Mansfield and beyond. Our 30-mile scenic route brings riders to the edge of Vermont's beauty spot, Lake Elmore, and onto some of the best natural scenery Elmore and Morrisville have to offer. Or maybe it's our 10-mile family fun ride that takes riders onto the longest trail in Vermont, the Lamoille Valley Rail Trail. Join us on Saturday, October 14th, as we take on some of the best gravel while taking in some of the most scenic countryside our Green Mountain State has to offer. Celebrate fall with a 50, 30, or 10-mile family fun ride in support of our community hospital, Copley. Register at bikereg.com or visit copleyvt.org. Get your Moxie on and ride for Copley on October 14th.
The WDEV studio is sponsored by Sticks and Stuff and Swanton Lumber, Vermont's largest independent home center, powered by Marvin Doors and Windows. Go to sticksandstuff.com for store locations and hours.
At Lamoille Valley Ford, we believe in the power of community. Right, kid? Darn right, Dan. The recent floods have left many families devastated and several homes and businesses destroyed. We know firsthand here at Lamoille Valley Ford and Hardwick, as we too were hit with hard flooding. But it's times like these, we come together, support one another, and start to rebuild. We're back on our feet here at Lamoille Valley Ford with repairs underway and dozens of truckloads of fresh new inventory arriving daily. Now we want to turn our attention to helping fellow Vermonters. If you're in need of a new vehicle, we want you to know at Lamoille Valley Ford, we now have over 200 new and pre-owned vehicles available, and we stand ready to earn your business. If you lost a vehicle during the floods, Ford just announced employee pricing that can save you thousands of dollars. Plus, it doesn't stop there. For every vehicle sold by Lamoille Valley Ford during August and September, we'll donate $100 to the Vermont Community Fund to support local flood relief efforts.
So for a great deal on your next vehicle, drive Route 14, 15, or 16 to Hardwick and Lamoille Valley Ford. And remember, Vermonters, together, we're going to come out of this stronger than before.
This is WDEV, Vermont's news station, owned and operated by the Radio Vermont Group. From the top of Sugarbush at 96.1 FM, WDEV Warren and Waitsfield. In Barrie at 96.5. In Montpelier at 98.3. Along with our founding station, AM 550 WDEV Waterbury, Montpelier. Streaming at WDEVradio.com. 92 years of serving Vermont. The friendly pioneer, WDEV.
This is CBS News on the Hour, presented by Indeed.com.
I'm Monica Ricks in New York. Former President Trump's officially on his way to Georgia, where he is set to surrender soon in the state's RICO case. His supporters waiting there to cheer him on.
Sitting in a folding chair and waving a Trump 2024 flag, Dorothy Simmons says the indictments don't affect her feelings on the former president.
I don't believe they are the truth, and I stand for truth. That's what I believe in.
Another supporter, Molly Sturgeon, believes it's a political persecution.
This is a travesty of justice.
But Joe Smith says he came down to show his appreciation for Fulton County District Attorney Fonnie Willis.
It's important to me that they follow, justice takes its course here.
Fulton County resident Gregory Wright tells me he also supports the district attorney.
Look, everybody's not lying.
Outside the Fulton County Jail, Jonathan O'Brien for CBS News, Atlanta.
The Pentagon's weighing in now on whether a Russian mercenary leader was killed yesterday in a small plane crash.
Our initial assessment, based on a variety of factors, is that he was likely killed.
As for what brought down the aircraft with 10 people aboard, General Patrick Ryder says that's also uncertain.
Nothing to indicate and no information to suggest that there was a surface-to-air missile.
That's CBS's Linda Kenyon reporting that crash following Yevgeny Prigozhin's failed military coup in Russia. Maui County has now sued Hawaiian Electric Company over the fires that destroyed Lahaina. It claims the utility negligently failed to shut off power despite strong winds and dry conditions. At least 115 people have died there. We should get an update soon from police on that bar shooting in California where at least 3 people were killed last night. CBS's Carter Evans is in Trabuco Canyon.
When we heard gunshots just randomly start going off, and then a few minutes later we heard it kind of increasing. We were kind of scared and we kind of ran back inside.
Jonathan Ziv lives nearby and heard gunfire. He says the historic bar is a beloved spot for bikers and families.
The shooter also died. He was a former cop targeting his estranged wife. Brian Kohlberger's murder trial has been delayed indefinitely in Idaho. He is accused of brutally killing 4 University of Idaho students off campus last November. Attorneys say they need more time to prep their defense. Lizzo is firing back.
Lizzo is suing her ex-backup dancers for malicious prosecution in response to their lawsuit accusing her of sexual, racial, and religious harassment. The singer's lawyer has shared photos with people of the 3 plaintiffs that appear to show them having fun with performers backstage at a topless cafe in Paris in March. They claim they were forced to attend the show and engage in acts they were uncomfortable with.
That's Deborah Rodriguez. This is CBS News.
If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Their end-to-end hiring system helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all in the same place. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Make your opinion heard by texting onto the Brady Farkas Show at 802-585-3026.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Welcome back in, Brady Farkas Show right here on WDEV AM and FM and WDEVradio.com. We got a full show tonight all the way up until 7 o'clock. Then we got some jazz with George Thomas. And then at 8 o'clock, we're heading out to Thunder Road, the nation's site of excitement there. The last regular Thursday night program of the year. Hard to believe it. Our racing crew standing by there again to take the reins at about 8 o'clock. Text line's open, 802-585-3026. Jack says, Danny, golf is fun, but patience is key. But he also says, don't do it. I guess that's because he doesn't have the patience to be able to do it. It requires patience for sure. Kyle in South Burlington says, Brady, who do you see in the outfield for the Red Sox in the next few years? I don't see them paying to keep Verdugo or Duvall, and Yoshida appears to be a DH. I don't know. It's too early to say that. Now, they're not going to pay to keep Duvall. Duvall's 35 years old. He's had a good year, but he's certainly an injury risk. He's going to be 36 next year. I don't think they're bringing Duvall back. I think they've got exactly what they wanted out of him, a 1-year stopgap. So I don't think Duvall will be on this team next year unless he can't find any other suitors and maybe he comes back to the Red Sox late in the offseason. But I think he's played too well to have that be the scenario. So I don't think Duvall will be back. Again, it's too early to say this, right? If Turner is back next year, and Turner has some kind of contractual option, but if Turner is back in Boston next year, he's the DH. Yoshida has to play left at least for the year. And then I would say Duran is in the mix. Abreu is in the mix. Verdugo is still under contract next year. Whether I think they're going to pay him long-term or not right now is irrelevant. But he's under contract for next year. If they don't trade him, he's out there. They got Ceddanne Rafaela. They got some pieces in the outfield that can make them, can kind of be interchangeable next year. So they have options in the outfield. I'm less concerned about that right now. I'm more concerned about this year. Red Sox do win today. They beat the Astros by a score of 17-1. This is one of the biggest laughers of the entire season. There was the one game where the Angels beat the Rockies like 26-1 or something like that. But beyond that, I can't think of any other games that are more lopsided than this one. I mean, the Red Sox dominated this thing in every possible way. They scored in 5 different innings in this game. They got multiple runs in 4 of those 5 innings. They had 17 runs total. They had 24 hits total. They had 8 players register multi-hit games. 8 different players registered multi-hit games, and nearly every starter had a multi-hit game. Nearly every starter. Verdugo had 4 hits. Devers had 2. Duvall had 2. Yoshida had 2. Reyes had 2. Abreu had 4. Urias had 2. Connor Wong had 4. And Turner went 1 for 2, and he came out of the game early to rest his heel, and they put Casas in, which was a smart move by Alex Cora to get the veteran off his feet. So, and then we also got Duvall out of the game later as well to rest his foot that he injured last night. That also was a smart move. So, Red Sox get the win, and I give them credit, as I said at the beginning of the show. I give them credit for not running with their tail between their legs after what happened in the first 2 games of the series. It would have been very easy to sit here and get pummeled and lose 3 of 4 or get swept after losing the first 2 games in the way the Red Sox did. They didn't do that. They come back. They even up the series. They're still within shouting distance. If you were watching on the television broadcast, Kevin Millar said it, and Kevin Millar was right. If you're in that 3-game range, 3.5, you feel like you got a puncher's chance, right? You start getting 5 games back, 6 games back with 30, 35 to play. It's starting to feel like it's over. The Red Sox have given themselves a chance to remain interesting. Okay, they're 3.5 back of Houston, who they're going to see again next week. They're 3 back of Seattle. They're not going to see them again anymore, but maybe the Mariners get on a losing streak at some point. Seattle ends the season with 7 out of their last 10 games against Texas, who's very, very good. They could easily go 2-5 in that stretch. If you stay within shouting distance of them, you have a chance at the end of the year to see them maybe falter. Now, they may not falter here in the next week because they've got Kansas City and Oakland. But if you stay close, end of the year, it's certainly possible. And I've been a Mariners fan long enough in my life to see them fold when you want to see them rise up. So it's always possible. Okay? It's always possible if you stay within shouting distance. You're going to see Toronto, right? You're going to see Toronto again this year, I think, for 3 more games. So you got a chance directly to make headway on them, just like you do against Houston. 3.5 games back. I give you credit for rectifying what went wrong in the first 2 games. Red Sox were a lot cleaner today. Yesterday, they held up in some tense moments. Good job by the bullpen. Good job by Pivetta. Kenley Jansen, we hope he's okay. And then Duvall with the 3-run homer and extras last night. It's a good win last night. It's a great win today. And shout out to Brian Bayo as well. Brian Bayo went 7 innings in this game. He allowed 1 earned run. He had 4 strikeouts. I give him credit in a lot of ways too. 1, a young pitcher pitched well on the road against a tough lineup. That simple. You beat the Houston Astros in their building with all their guys playing, and Altuve was in this lineup, and Bregman was in this lineup, and Alvarez was in this lineup, and Tucker was in this lineup. You beat that lineup in their building, credit to you. Brian Bayo goes 7 innings in this game. Absolutely humongous. Absolutely humongous. Last night, the Red Sox burdened their bullpen. You knew you were short today, right? Jansen's not pitching today. Martin threw like 30 pitches yesterday. He wasn't going to be able to throw today. So Brian Bayo helped save the bullpen. Yeah, the Red Sox won big, but Brian Bayo, they could have won this game 17-7, and Brian Bayo could have gotten lit up and have to get out after 4 innings. It didn't happen. He went after guys. He attacked hitters. He went deep into this game. He was economical with his pitch count. He knew exactly what he needed to do, and the bullpen is reset now. You go into a series at home this weekend against the Los Angeles Dodgers, one of the best teams in baseball, that can absolutely turn your pitching staff sideways. You're going to want to reset bullpen, and Brian Bayo allowed you to do that. And look, tomorrow might get rained out. We don't know that, but if you listen to the game on our radio station all day, they're talking about the weather tomorrow. So now Bayo has saved the bullpen, and the weather may further save the bullpen to where you could potentially be completely ready going into this Dodgers series. I want the Red Sox to play tomorrow, but if they don't, basically the bullpen's had 2 full days off after being pretty taxed for a bit here, and Brian Bayo helped accomplish that. I also give Bayo credit because it's not easy to pitch in a game like this. It's not easy to pitch like this because you don't exactly know what to do if you're Brian Bayo. You're like, look, we're up big. Am I just piping fastballs now to try to get out of innings quicker, but now I'm potentially getting hit? Am I not focused because now I've sat for 20 minutes and 23 minutes and this inning's long and that's it, that inning's long? Bayo's like, look, I just come out, I just do my job and be economical. I get outs, I go deep into the game. right? It's not. I've had plenty of times where an offense picks you up, but then you're sitting so long that you get stiff, that you get bored, that now you lose focus because instead of pitching like it's a 0-0 game, it's 15-0, it's 12-1, whatever, and it's easy to lose focus in that situation. Danny, you're a Celtics fan, right? How many times did we see this year where the Celtics would get up 30, and then all of a sudden it gets a little bit boring for everybody, and all of a sudden, just like that, the game is 8. Well, that's what happens to you mentally when you're an athlete and when the game is out of contention. Brian Bayo absolutely could have said, okay, we're up 10-1. Here comes 4 fastballs, and now we've got up 3 doubles, and now there's a homer, and then there's an error, and now I've walked somebody, and now there's another double. And all of a sudden, 12-0 turns into 12-5 in a heartbeat. It wasn't that. So Brian Bayo, I thought, did an excellent job today, and I continue to love to watch him pitch. It's not always pretty, but generally he's pretty good. 95-96. Used all 4 quadrants of the strike zone. Saw him not afraid to go in on guys. He's going up and into Yordan Alvarez. It's not an easy place to pitch Yordan Alvarez. Trying to get it in his kitchen. It's one of the best hitters in baseball and maybe the most feared hitter in baseball when he's healthy. And he's trying to dot 96 on the inner third. That's hard. He's throwing sinkers here going at guys. Has the good changeup. I enjoy watching Bayo pitch. And as we think about the Red Sox, the Red Sox position player core is in a far greater spot for the future than the Red Sox pitcher core. When I think about the position players, Abreu and Rafaela and Duran and Devers and Marcelo Meyer and Nick York and Blaze Jordan and Connor Wong, right? And Casas. There's a lot of guys positionally to like. Pitcher-wise, there's not a lot there for this club. Bayo is going to be a tent pole of the rotation here for years to come, and I am enjoying what they are getting from him here this season. I think he has been, he's 10-7. He's got a 3.56 ERA. He's made his starts. He's been fairly consistent. And today he did an excellent job. 802-585-3026. Texter says, who said, Brady, the Mariners will win the AL West? I don't know. I didn't say that. I thought the Astros would win the AL West because the Astros win the AL West every year. The Astros have won the AL West every year since 2017. Well, at least it feels like since 2017. They may have gotten in as a wild card once, but they made the World Series for the last 6 years. So yeah, the Astros are dominant. Texter says, I'm saying it now. Well, good. I hope they do win the AL West, but I think that's probably some kind of reverse jinx for the Red Sox. So we'll see what happens. Also on the Red Sox front, just looking at this box score again, we got some of the highlights we'll play back for you towards the end of the show, but you look at multiple RBIs out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys. 5 guys, multiple RBIs today for the Red Sox. Verdugo had 2. Devers had 3. 2 from Pablo Reyes, 4 from Abreu, and 2 from Wong. I really like watching Willie Abreu hit, right? It's a small sample size. It's 3 games that he's been up here, or whatever, 2 games that he's been up maybe and played. He's got a good knowledge of the strike zone, which is something Alex Cora said in the pregame show. You heard it here on WDEV. But also got some power, has the ability to go to all fields, can drive the ball to the gap. Willie Abreu is a guy who looks like he can play. And they got him last year in that trade with the Astros for Christian Vasquez, the same one that brought back Manuel Valdez, a guy who's got a decent hit tool as well, who I don't know what his future is ultimately in the organization, but Manuel Valdez is a guy who can hit also. Abreu is something one to be excited about. And we start thinking about, okay, Yoshida's here, and Duran's here, and Rafael is here, and Abreu. There's some stuff going on there, either for your team or as potential trade bait. I would say that these guys here potentially point to your ability to trade Alex Verdugo in the offseason. Let me throw this scenario at you. Alex Verdugo next year is he's going into the final year of his deal. I don't think Alex Verdugo is a $100 million player. I don't. He's played well the last couple of weeks, or the last couple of, last week or so, but I don't believe he's a $100 million player. He's too streaky, doesn't hit for enough power, isn't always dependable. So I'm not paying Verdugo $100 million. But let's go and say this. Let's just say Verdugo can net you a starting pitcher. Right? Like, let's just call it a 1-for-1 swap. Somewhere out there's got to be a team. Like, we saw it this offseason, right, Danny? The Marlins had a surplus of starting pitching. So they traded Pablo Lopez to the Marlins to the Twins, rather, for Luis Arraez, right? Just a straight 1-for-1 swap. The Marlins said, we have excess pitching, we need offense. The Twins said, we have excess offense, we need pitching. It was a 1-for-1 swap. Two guys nearing the end of their contracts. Let's go 1-for-1 on this. Why couldn't the Red Sox do that with Alex Verdugo and go get a major league pitcher? Go out and make a trade this offseason and say, look, our outfield we feel good about. We've got Yoshida out there for one more year. We've got to play the outfield because Turner's back. But we've got Yoshida. We've got Duran. We've got Abreu. We've got Rafaela. We've got young outfielders we feel good about. Alex Verdugo has become expendable to us. And we're not going to want to pay him $100 million. But there might be an offensively starved team out there that is looking for 1 year of a good offensive player who's now hungry and motivated in a contract year to try to get that $100 million. And we're looking for 1 year of a pitcher who's looking to get motivated to go out and get his big payday. And now we can help each other. You scratch my back, we'll scratch yours. Okay, we talk about the Red Sox being thin in the pitching department next year. And right now they're very thin, right? Paxton's a free agent at the end of the year. You never know what you're going to get from Sale. How can Whitlock, or question marks as to what their ultimate role is? Kluber obviously is going to be done. So pitching staff-wise for the Red Sox, you need some help. I could absolutely foresee a scenario where Verdugo gets dealt for a starting pitcher at the end of his deal, right? Like a couple of years ago, the A's are different because they were tanking, but they dealt Sean Manaea, final year of his contract. They dealt him to the Padres. They dealt Chris Bassett to the Mets, final year of his contract. Somewhere out there is a team that has a pitcher at the end of their contract that needs an offensive piece, right? I can think about the Mariners. Now, the Mariners aren't a good fit probably because they only have younger pitchers. They don't have guys at the end of deals that could probably help the Red Sox. But the Mariners need offense. So if they could acquire Alex Verdugo for an expiring pitcher contract, if they had one, that would be a deal I would want them to make. I don't want the Mariners to pay Alex Verdugo $100 million, but a final year of your contract guy, to pay Verdugo $10 million for the final year of his deal, that I would do in a heartbeat. And I think there's a lot of teams that are chasing playoff berths that might want to do that. And the Red Sox have put themselves in that position because of their outfield surplus now. And we can bash Chaim Bloom for a lot of things. A lot of you have taken the liberty to bash Chaim Bloom for a lot of things. But this is what building up the farm system does for you. This is what creating organizational depth does for you. That your players, your minor league players, can matriculate and become players for you, or they can become trade bait, right? The Red Sox could also go and trade Wilyer Abreu or Ceddanne Rafaela. They could do that. But I'd rather them come up, be cheap, be good, be exciting, play for the Red Sox for 6-7 years, and I'd rather move on from Verdugo, who I don't know that Verdugo's better than these guys, and Verdugo is going to cost me $100 million more. I'm good with that. I am good with moving him. So this depth you've created can push out Verdugo, get you something for him, and you've got a wave of talent that just comes up and replaces him. It's what they didn't have with Mookie Betts, right? They got rid of Mookie Betts. They didn't have somebody there to take his place. And now you've seen the gaps that you've had the last couple of years. Chaim Bloom, I know it's unpopular, and I've sometimes disagreed with it as well. But what he's tried to do is make it so there's waves of talent. Look what happens in Houston. The Houston Astros let Carlos Correa go. Let Carlos Correa go. But what'd they do? They had Jeremy Pena. Jeremy Pena, who hits the game-winning home run to clinch the ALDS last year. Jeremy Pena, who wins the American League Championship Series MVP. Jeremy Pena, who is battling out for Rookie of the Year last year. So they let Correa go. They're like, look, we're not going to pay you $200 million, $300 million. If that were the Red Sox, when they let Bogarts go, they got killed for it. You know why? They didn't have someone there. They didn't have a young guy there to take his place. Now, they were supposed to have Trevor Story there, fine, but they didn't have Marcelo Meyer wasn't ready yet. The Astros had a guy ready and waiting. That's how they've operated. They've been able to let George Springer go. They've been able to let Dallas Keuchel go. They've been able to let Carlos Correa go because they have people waiting in the wings. The Red Sox haven't had that. But with the organizational depth that Chaim Bloom has built, they can afford to let Verdugo go. And I'm trying not to be prisoner of the moment here about Wilyer Abreu, but look, he goes 4 for 5 today, home run, 4 RBIs, shows like he can control the zone, power to all fields, doesn't swing and miss a lot. And I'm told there's better than him down in the farm system, right? Like Abreu is like the 18th best prospect for the Red Sox. Ceddanne Rafaela is a top 3 prospect for the Red Sox. He's supposed to be more exciting than Abreu. So Yoshida, Duran, Abreu. I got Ref Snyder next year. Rafaela. I don't need Verdugo. Maybe I can use him. I could definitely use him, I would think, to be able to go out and get a pitcher who can help me. Tex says, do the Red Sox go after Ohtani or Soto? Texter also says 100% agree on Verdugo. He's going to be traded. That's a guarantee. I can very much see it. Right? Like I said that weeks ago. I said I would trade him weeks ago. Once he was late to the Toronto series, I was like, I can't depend on him, so I'm out. And I'm also not going to pay him $100 million baseball-wise. So I've been saying I would trade Verdugo for a while. Now, this is going to make it easier for me because I see that I've got replacements. But Tom Caron said he could see him getting traded. The thing I don't think happens for Verdugo is I don't think that a team trades a top flight prospect for him, right? Like, again, I'll just use the Mariners because it's the team I know best. Mariners have a good farm system. They need offense. They need major league offense because they're in a window here where they can win. If I'm the Mariners, I still don't think trading a young stud with 6 years of team control prospect for 1 year of Alex Verdugo is a good move. Trading a 1 year pitcher for a 1 year hitter, I think that would be a great move. I think that would be a great swap. And that I would do if the Mariners had it. So I don't think Verdugo nets you a huge prospect. I think it nets you a major league piece on an expiring deal just like he is. That's what I want from the Red Sox. I want a major league piece that can help me get back to the playoffs next year. Texter asked about Shohei Ohtani. Let's talk about Shohei Ohtani. There's a lot of different options on the table now. It's unfortunate as to why. There's a lot of different options on the table for the Red Sox, for Ohtani, for all of baseball. We'll talk about it next on the Brady Farkas Show on DEV.
There are many reasons why the Country Club of Barrie is one of Golf Magazine's top 5 courses in Vermont. Here are a few. The Country Club of Barrie is a scenic course of rolling hills, providing a challenging and rewarding experience for all levels of golfers. No need to travel to purchase your golf needs. The Country Club of Barrie has a fully stocked pro shop with golf equipment from major brands like Titleist, Ping, and TaylorMade. The Country Club of Barrie offers lessons and junior clinics, indoor and outdoor dining for you to enjoy food and beverages before and after your round of golf. The Country Club of Barrie prides itself on the maintenance of their immaculate greens and newly installed tee boxes. As a member-owned club and pro shop, the Country Club of Barrie profits go right back into the club. See for yourself why Central Vermont golfers list the Country Club of Barrie as a must-play course. For more information and to book your tee time online, go to ccofbarrie.com or call the pro shop 802-476-7658.
At Fisher Investments, we do things differently, and other money managers don't understand why.
Because our way works great for us.
But it may not work for your clients. That's why Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, obligated to put clients first. It's the highest standard for a financial advisor.
So what do you provide? Cookie cutter portfolios like the rest of us?
No cookie cutter portfolios here. Fisher Investments tailors portfolios to meet each client's goals and needs.
But you do sell investments that earn you high commissions, right? And make commissions when you make trades for your clients?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission investment products, and we never earn commissions on trades.
So what's in it for you?
Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when our clients do better. When it comes to helping clients achieve a comfortable retirement, we're clearly different. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
Marvin windows are designed for unprecedented performance and exceptional aesthetics. Marvin's expansive window portfolio has every style you can imagine, all of them crafted with the highest quality material and the ability to mix and match across product lines that allows you to achieve the right form and function for your residential, commercial, and replacement needs. See our Marvin specialist at Sticks and Stuff and Swanton Lumber in Middlesex, St. Albans, Enosburg, Swanton, and Derby, or online at sticksandstuff.com.
Honey, I'm going to Kinney.
Oh, could you get a big bag of M&Ms?
What? Okay.
What is this? this?
A big bag of enemas.
OMG, M&Ms, like the candy.
Oh.
Hey, we've all been there, right? Share your misheard moment at KinneyHearing.com and be entered to win a free pair of Lucid hearing aids valued at $1,000 from Kinney Drugs. You heard that right, KinneyHearing.com.
At Memorial Valley Ford, we believe in the power of community. Right, kid? Darn right, Dan. The recent floods have left many families devastated and several homes and businesses destroyed. We know firsthand here at Memorial Valley Ford in Hardwick, as we too were hit with hard flooding. But it's times like these, we come together, support one another, and start to rebuild. We're back on our feet here at Memorial Valley Ford with repairs underway and dozens of truckloads of fresh new inventory arriving daily. Now, we want to turn our attention to helping fellow Vermonters. If you're in need of a new vehicle, we want you to know at Memorial Valley Ford, we now have over 200 new and pre-owned vehicles available, and we stand ready to earn your business. If you lost a vehicle during the floods, Ford just announced employee pricing that can save you thousands of dollars. Plus, it doesn't stop there. For every vehicle sold by Memorial Valley Ford during August and September, we'll donate $100 to the Vermont Community Fund to support local flood relief efforts.
So for a great deal on your next vehicle, drive Route 14, 15, or 16 to Hardwick and Memorial Valley Ford. And remember, Vermonters, together, we're going to come out of this stronger than before.
Nourish and protect your pets with the best food and flea and tick protection at your family-owned Guy's Farm and Yard stores. Guy's stocks the best pet foods, including Signature, Origin, and Fromm. Find the best choices of flea and tick protection at Guy's, too. See all the choices of treats, toys, and leashes that'll make a happy pet even happier. They're your darn tough sock headquarters, too. Guy's Farm and Yard, with stores in Portland Street, Morrisville, Berry Street, Montpelier, Taft Corners, Williston, and Fairfax Road in St. Albans at guysfarmandYard.com.
Want Brady to hear your opinion on the sports stories of the day? Text in at 802-585-3026.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Yeah. Welcome back in. Brady Farkas Show right here on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. We're up until 7 o'clock tonight. And then we've got Jazz with George Thomas and then racing over at Thunder Road tonight for the final Thursday program of the year. Nick Mumley, Greg Titus, our racing crew is ready and standing by again to take the mic at about 8 o'clock. So you can get in on the text line, 802-585-3026. Texter asked if I think the Red Sox will go after Juan Soto. That answer to me is no, and I'm not even really going to entertain it. Now, Juan Soto is having a pretty good year with the Padres this year. He's going to be a free agent after next year, so he's got 2024 with the Padres. I think the Padres look at one of two things, right? Like they can play with Juan Soto and try to win in a way they haven't won this year, or they can trade Juan Soto in the offseason and try to recoup some value for him and get some prospects and replenish the farm system while still thinking they have a good enough team to win. If that's what they do, I don't think the Red Sox are involved. Again, I think the Red Sox have built up a farm system that they don't want to deplete for one player on an expiring deal. Now, if they thought they could, if they had a guarantee they could lock up Juan Soto for 10 years, then maybe they would. But I don't think that's how this is going to go for Juan Soto. Like, I think Juan Soto's gotten this close to free agency. He turned down a $450 million deal in Washington a couple of years ago. If you're going to turn down $450 million, you probably want to get to the end line of free agency. So I don't think the Red Sox trade what it would take to get Soto without a guarantee that he signs, and I don't think that they would get a guarantee. So I'm not even going to entertain the Juan Soto stuff. The Ohtani stuff is fascinating, and if you have had your head under a sports rock for the last 15 hours or so, let me just explain this to you quickly. Shohei Ohtani will not pitch again this year. Shohei Ohtani has a tear in his UCL. That is the ulnar collateral ligament. That is the Tommy John ligament. He's seeking a second opinion. We don't know what the outcome of this is going to be. And as I see it right now, there's three options on the table for Shohei Ohtani. There is, it's a full tear, and he needs Tommy John surgery again, in which case he will not pitch all of 2024 either. He could have a partial tear and get what's called the internal brace procedure, which is what Trevor Story had. And Trevor Story obviously is not out the entire year, but has missed a good chunk of the year. I don't know how exactly. Now, Story did not get his done until January. Ohtani could get his done in October, right when the season's done, and be back in time to pitch at some point next year. Not at the beginning of the season, but probably midway through the season, something like that. Or Ohtani can have a partial tear and elect to just rest and rehab and try to pitch through it. And guys do pitch through tears in their UCL. David Price for the Red Sox had a tear in his UCL and pitched through it. And we saw Masahiro Tanaka for the Yankees. He had a tear in his UCLA. I keep calling it UCLA. His UCL. And he pitched through it for years. Buster Olney has told me for years on this show and others, for Tanaka, that elbow's a ticking time bomb, right? He's got a partial tear. It's going to go at some point. It never went while he was pitching with the Yankees, right? He had the partial tear, but he just rested it and then pitched through it. That could be the case for Ohtani also. So I don't know what's going to happen. The second opinion is going to be massive. What is going to be fascinating, absolutely fascinating, is what happens to Shohei Ohtani in free agency now. And then from the Red Sox perspective, how does that affect their interest in Shohei Ohtani? Because Ohtani was set to make $600 million, the biggest contract in baseball. This news and the subsequent second opinion, what does that mean for Ohtani? And there's a bunch of different ways that this can go, right? Does a team say, we still want you, Shohei, for 10 years, right? Like, we're kind of thinking Shohei Ohtani was going to get like a 10-year, $600 million deal. Does a team look at Shohei Ohtani and go, you know what? We still want you for 10 years, but we're going to pay you $400 million because we don't know what your pitching future is. Does a team say, we still want Shohei Ohtani for the rest of his career, but we're now trying to get a value on the money, and we're going to get him for $400 million, and if all he can do is hit, then he's still worth it, and if he can pitch again, then we've got a pretty good, then we've got a steal here. So that's an option. 10 years, $400 million. Does a team look at it and say, you know what? We want Ohtani for 1 year. And we know that he probably won't be able to pitch next year, or at least all of the year. But we're going to offer him 1 year, and we want him to come and just hit for us most of the time. Right? Like, it might take him a little time. Like Bryce Harper had Tommy John surgery. It took him until May to come back as a hitter. So does a team go and say, you know what? We want you for 1 year, mainly as a hitter, where you're going to play 100 games for us. And we will give you a 1 year contract worth $48 million to do just that. And then you can go be a free agent again when your arm is fully healthy and try to get the bag. Or does a team say to Ohtani, we want you for 2 years, and we'll let you rehab your arm for 1 year, hit for 1 year, and then the second year we get the whole package again, but we're not worrying about being invested for 10 years when your arm could go. This is fascinating to see how times or how this will evolve. Because I look at this and I think now every team in baseball should be involved for Shohei Ohtani at some level. I can't, with the question about his pitching future, I can't see him getting $600 million, right? Like, who would want to attach themselves to this big a question mark now for $600 million? He's going to be 30 years old coming up. He's already had Tommy John once. He's got elbow problems now a second time. I don't know how much he's going to be able to pitch ever again, and he's not worth $600 million as just a hitter. So I can't see that. But there will be some teams, I think, that say, hey, let's go for the 10 years. We want him just as an offensive player and maybe a pitcher, $400 million. I could see a team going, we'll give you 2 years at $125 million, so we're not on the hook for anything long term, but we still get 2 great years of your bat and maybe a year and a half of you as a good pitcher. This is going to be fascinating to me. What does Ohtani want? Does Ohtani want the long-term security and the guaranteed money, but it's less than the $600 million that he was headed for? Does he want a 1 or 2 year deal where he builds himself up and then he says, okay, at 31 or 32, I hit the market again, and now I try to get great money a second time? Or do I take another bite at free agency? I don't know, but the Boston Red Sox absolutely should be involved in some level. And I could see the Red Sox making an offer on all 3 of those levels. Shohei, here's 10 for $400. You come be a guaranteed offensive force for us. We'll see about the hitting. Or we'll see about the pitching. And if we get you as a pitcher for 4 of those 10 years, then that's a bonus, right? Then that's a bonus. The Boston Red Sox should have a deal ready that says, we will give you 3 years and $160 million, where we'll take you as the best offensive player in the sport and a year and a half of you as a pitcher. Red Sox should have a deal where they say, we'll give you 2 years and $110 million. We'll give you 1 year and $65 million. Whatever it is to be creative, the Red Sox should be in the Ohtani running. Every team in the league should be in the Ohtani running because it's not $600 million anymore. At $600 million, we're talking about the Yankees. We're talking about the Red Sox. We're talking about the Mets. We're talking about the Dodgers, and that's it. $400 million, we're talking about nearly every team can be involved in a big money deal for 1 or 2 years. Every team can be involved there, and the Red Sox should be. Text says, if you have Tommy John, you can't hit either. You're out for the year regardless. That's false. That's patently false. We've seen this already. Bryce Harper had Tommy John surgery last offseason. He came back and hit in May. Like, where are we getting this idea? Shohei Ohtani had Tommy John surgery and came back the next year and hit in May. If Ohtani got Tommy John surgery the day the season ended, heck, let's just say Ohtani gets shut down now. If they said, hey, he's going to get surgery, he's going to get it now, he'll have a 2-month head start on the offseason, or a month and a half head start on the offseason, Shohei Ohtani might be ready to hit by opening day. So Bryce Harper, remember, the Phillies played in the World Series last year. Bryce Harper couldn't get anything done until early November. So he gets it done early November. He's back hitting in a major league game at the end of May, and so that's like a 6-month recovery. Shohei Ohtani got it done. Let's just say he got it done October 1st. 6-month recovery. Could be hitting by April 1st. You could get the whole season of Shohei Ohtani, the offensive player. Danny, look up Shohei Ohtani's 2019 season for me, if you could, and tell me how many games he played it. Because as I recall, Ohtani had Tommy John surgery in 2018, came back in 2019, and was an offensive player. He did not hit the entire season. It took him time to recover, but he came back. He played at least half the season, if not more. So, Danny, just hop in when you find that. I know you're looking for it. But like, you can absolutely hit if you get Tommy John surgery. So a team should have all kinds of packages on the table here, and the Red Sox should be involved at every level here. That 10 years, $400 million, there's a bargain now, right? Like Mookie Betts, like Mike Trout has over a $400 million contract. 10 years, $400 million for Ohtani, where you get 10 years of him as an offensive player and, 4 to 5 maybe of him as a pitcher. Bargain. You want to have a 3-year deal where you give him huge money and you take him as a pitcher for 2 of those years, but you assume no huge long-term risks? Bargain. 1 year, as an offensive player only? Whatever. I don't know what Ohtani wants. I don't know what Ohtani's reps want, but the Red Sox should be involved. Texter says, Ohtani played in just over 100 games after getting Tommy John surgery. And 100 games as an offensive player. If he got the surgery done the day the season ended, he could hit for 130 games probably. And I'd want him for 130 games. Red Sox should be involved. 802-585-3026. Again, that's 802-585-3026. We see also the popular one, like I said, 2-year deal, where year 1, you're going to rehab your arm, but you can hit. And then year 2, we get you as a pitcher as well when you're coming back, and we get you for the offensive player again. And we're going to have Buster tomorrow. I knew the game was going to be kind of screwy today, so we don't have Buster on today. I'm going to ask Buster tomorrow all of this stuff. Like, how many different permutations of Ohtani deal could you have? I saw Jim Bowden, former MLB executive today. He's on MLB Network on Sirius XM. He put out maybe a team gives Ohtani a 10-year deal, but he's got an opt-out after 2 years to where if his arm is healthy, he opts out and he hits free agency and he tries to get the big money again. Maybe. You have to be creative here. With Ohtani, you have to be creative. And the Red Sox have the money to be flexible and be creative, and they absolutely should exploit that and take advantage of it. Off the contract stuff for a moment, this just stinks for baseball. Like, I know... And I will tend to be like this. I'm not too proud to admit it. There are absolutely times where when everybody else loves something, I get tired of hearing about it. When everybody's telling me how great something is, I tend to rail against it. I tend to tell you why it's not that great. I tend to try to put it down. And I'm sorry that I do that, but I do that. Ohtani, I'm never getting tired of. I am in the group, in the mass group that loves what Ohtani is doing, and I will never get tired of seeing it, and I will never get tired of talking about it. He's that special. And what he's done has redefined what I thought was possible in Major League Baseball. Think about, in America, the specialization that goes on. There aren't a lot of people. Now in Vermont, here it's a little bit different, right? Vermont's not Texas, not Florida. But the specialization that goes on, guys will quit entire sports in 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade to focus on one thing. And people get so hyper-focused on one thing, they forget about everything else, right? When I was in 9th grade, the decision was made for me that I was no longer going to be a hitter or a defensive player. I was only going to pitch. Like in 9th grade, the decision was made for me by my high school coach. And it wasn't just me. It was every other pitcher on our staff. We had nobody that played two ways for us in high school because it was just, you had to focus on this. And these guys focused on that. Shohei Ohtani has redefined what I thought is possible. And while Ken Griffey Jr. was the cool player of my youth and the cool player of my life, Shohei Ohtani is that to kids of this generation. He doesn't quite have the coolness factor of Griffey because nobody has the coolness factor of Griffey. But in terms of what kids are attracted to as a professional baseball player, Shohei Ohtani is it, man. He can throw 100 and hit it 450. People don't do that. People have never done that. Okay, Babe Ruth has always been a mythical creature, essentially, because he could play both ways. Babe Ruth played both ways really well for 2 years. Shohei Ohtani has already surpassed what Babe Ruth ever was as a pitcher. He has redefined what is possible in the sport of baseball. And for this to happen and for his pitching future to be up in the air, man, it just stinks. It stinks for the game. Yes, it stinks for the Angels this year. It stinks for Ohtani earning-wise, but it stinks for fans of the game. Because fans of the game love to see great baseball players. And fans of the game like to see people who can do things that no one else can, right? Why is Steph Curry so fun to watch? Because he just shoots in a way that nobody ever has and that nobody else can. Shohei Ohtani plays the way that nobody else has, and he plays in a way that nobody ever has and that nobody can now, right? Teams have tried to replicate Ohtani, right? They're drafting guys, two-way players, and guys are in the minors, and now this guy's getting hurt, and that guy, people can't do it. It's too hard to do what Shohei Ohtani does, and Shohei Ohtani has done it. And the idea that he may not be able to do it anymore, or he may not be able to do it for that long anymore, that's gutting. That's bad for baseball. Baseball is on such a bounce back. Baseball is on such a comeback, I think. It's not ever going to catch the NFL again. I don't know that it's going to be as popular as the NBA, but baseball is in a better spot now than it's ever been in the 9 years now that I've been in this business. It's in the best spot it's been in the 9 years I've been in this business. And Shohei Ohtani is a huge reason why. Because he has helped bring a coolness factor back to baseball. He has helped bring an excitement back to baseball. He has helped bring a mythical quality back to baseball. Got other major leaguers' favorite major leaguer is Shohei Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani impresses guys like LeBron James, because they also are fascinated at what this guy can do. And it's tough to see that he can't do it for that long, or he may not be able to do it at all anymore. Now, the second opinion is going to be huge. And maybe we'll know more tomorrow by the time we talk to Buster. But as I see it, there's three options. Tommy John surgery, out for all of next year as a pitcher, and out for some of next year as a hitter. Internal brace surgery like Trevor Story got, and that is out for at least half of next season as a pitcher, maybe more, and probably can hit fairly quickly, maybe even by spring training. I'm no doctor, but Story was hitting fairly early on in this process. And the third option is you pitch through it. And that's what we saw Tanaka do, and that's what we saw David Price do. And these guys never needed full-blown Tommy John surgery. Okay? They had injuries. They had some diminished velocity at times, but they were able to pitch through a partial UCL tear. It's the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM and FM at WDEVradio.com. We'll get you the highlights from the Red Sox game. And one other note here about the Red Sox game that I think is worth mentioning out of the Red Sox 17-1 win over the Houston Astros today down at Minute Maid Park. We'll get to it all next on the Brady Farkas Show on DEV.
Marvin windows are designed for unprecedented performance and exceptional aesthetics. Marvin's expansive window portfolio has every style you can imagine, all of them crafted with the highest quality material and the ability to mix and match across product lines that allows you to achieve the right form and function for your residential, commercial, and replacement needs. See our Marvin specialist at Sticks and Stuff and Swanton Lumber in Middlesex, St. Albans, Enosburg, Swanton, and Derby, or online at sticksandstuff.com.
It's that time of year again. Hi, it's Lisa Gravel here. As much as we don't want to hear it, winter is closing in on us. Don't get caught in a storm. Come see me at Route 15 Snowplows located in Hardwick. We have our large line of SnowX products, everything to fit your UTV to skid steers, small pickups to dump trucks. We carry sanders and accessories too. Give me, Lisa, a call, 472-3776 at Route 15 Snowplows for a quote. Our preseason order is in stock and ready to be installed on your vehicle. Happy plowing.
Let's have a family day over Labor Day weekend and head to the Mad River Valley Craft Fair in Waitsfield.
Sure. It's a beautiful drive, and I heard they have some kind of kid show?
Yes. Dino Man will be there on Saturday from 11 a.m. to noon. You know, that really funny guy who uses magic and incredible props to teach kids about dinosaurs? And on Sunday, there will be yoga.
Sounds fun. And I know they have a great food court and live music both days. That's where I'll be.
Okay. I'll be under the tent shopping for a new hand-painted tote bag, or maybe a Woody Jackson calendar for my office, or maybe a new piece of jewelry.
Hold on. I was going to buy you something for our anniversary. Let's shop locally and start on our holiday list, too.
There really is something for the whole family at the craft fair, isn't there?
The 52nd Annual Mad River Valley Craft Fair, Labor Day weekend, September 2nd and 3rd, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Free parking, $5 for adults, kids 12 and under get in free. Supporting the nonprofit Valley Players Theater. MadRiverCraftFair.com.
Looking for a home of your own, but think it's out of reach? Habitat for Humanity is seeking applications for a home ownership opportunity in Barrie. The 2 or 3 bedroom, 1.5 bath home is located just off Barrie's South Main Street and is a 9-minute walk to Spalding High School. The 1,300 square foot home will be on municipal water and sewer. Qualified applicants must be within Central Vermont Habitat for Humanity's income limits. Limits are based on up to 80% area median income. Applicants must either live or work in Washington or Orange County, must be willing to volunteer hours, and must be able to show $500 in a bank account to cover closing costs. Download the application at centralvermonthabitat.org. Applications are due by noon on September 18th. Don't miss this opportunity. Applications are due September 18th at noon. To apply, go to centralvermonthabitat.org. Fresh family entertainment and old-fashioned fun. That's the Caledonia County Fair. Vermont's oldest fair is now through Sunday in Lyndonville. Today's features include farm tractor pulling, a cornhole tournament, goat milking contest, and pony pull. Tomorrow, there's 4x4 truck pulling. Saturday, don't miss NEK arm wrestling and the Oxen Show Extreme Obstacle Course at the Caledonia County Fair, now through Sunday in Lyndonville. Details at caledoniacountyfair.com.
August's Vermont Biz profiles Adeline Druart, the rising CEO of Lawson's Finest Liquids. As the former president of Vermont Creamery, she is shifting from butter and cheese to beer. In 2003, Druart experienced what the French call a coup de foudre when she fell in love with her husband and then with Vermont. Will lightning strike yet again? Vermont Biz's economic feature focuses on Addison County, home to hard cider makers, as well as Middlebury College and Porter Medical Center. While new developments offer an exciting outlook, many businesses are still struggling to regain their footing. Is the mood overburdened or optimistic? Finally, following the flooding of July 7 through 12, FEMA has sent more than 400 personnel to help with housing and infrastructure recovery, and the SBA is making loans available to the counties hit hardest. Vermont Biz will keep you up to date on the recovery efforts and the impact on business. businesses. All this and more is in the August issue of Vermont Biz. Serious business, serious news. For a subscription, call 802-863-8038 or go to vermontbiz.com.
The Brady Farkas Show now has an interactive text line, so reach out now at 802-585-3026.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Welcome back in, Brady Farkas Show right here on WDEV AM and FM, WDEVradio.com. Red Sox beat the Astros today by a score of 17-1. 39 total bases in this game for the Red Sox. 24 hits. They hit 3 home runs, including a leadoff shot by Alex Verdugo to start the game.
There's a drive. That one hit wickedly right field, and it is gone. What a way to open up the day. Doogie with a blast, and the Red Sox are on top 1-0. That got out of here quickly for number 10.
Red Sox blasted starting pitcher J.P. France. J.P. France has been one of the better rookies in all of baseball this year. Kind of unreported on because he doesn't do anything like spectacular in terms of gaudy strikeout numbers or anything. But J.P. France was 9-4 and had an ERA of under 3 coming into this game, and the Red Sox tattooed him for 10 earned runs in 2 1/3. They didn't stop with the Verdugo home run. How about the first career home run from Wilyer Abreu?
Against Verlander, swinging a drive. This one deep right field. Watch this baby go. Gone into the second deck. His first big league home run, and it was a blast and a half. And the Red Sox add on Abreu with a 2-run homer and an absolute no-doubter.
I like the way Abreu swings the bat, man. He's just got the ability to go to all fields, hits for power, good control of the zone. I was listening to the pregame show before the game started on WDEV, and the sit-down with Will Fleming and Alex Cora. Alex Cora said, whenever I talk about Abreu, you're going to hear me say he controls the zone. He seems to have a good strike zone knowledge. Game was out of hand. At the top of the ninth inning, the Astros went to the position player pitching model. Martin Maldonado, their catcher, who's got a great arm, was throwing 48-mile-an-hour meatballs. Connor Wong took one of those out to deep right.
Wong rips one high and deep into right field. It is back, and it is gone. Just over the wall, a 2-run opposite field home run for Connor Wong, and it's 17-1 Red Sox.
That's how it ended, 17-1 was the final. Red Sox 68-60 on the year. Houston 72-57. Red Sox 3.5 games back now of both Houston and Seattle. Those two teams are tied right now for the second and third wild card spots. The Red Sox are 3.5 back. Toronto is in there as well. The Red Sox trailed the Blue Jays by 2.5 games. Blue Jays are playing today against the Baltimore Orioles, so the Red Sox could end this game at 3 back of Toronto or 2 back. So we'll see what happens there. Okay. Red Sox baseball tomorrow against the Dodgers. Danny, we're scheduled to be off the air tomorrow at 6:10, correct?
Correct.
Okay. We'll see what happens. The rain in the forecast in Boston. Don't know if they're going to get that game in. If not, we'll have a full show for you. But again, 6:10 tomorrow is the scheduled pregame show. We will have Buster Olney of ESPN on, though, with us tomorrow at 5:45. Danny, real quick, need your opinion on something. Now, you did not live in the dorms when you went to college, right? You commuted, lived at home?
I was a commuter, correct.
Okay. So my dad was telling me when I saw him earlier that the people across the street from my parents, they have a kid who's going to college clearly for the first time. Their kid is driving a U-Haul of their stuff to college. A U-Haul, like a 10-foot U-Haul to go to college. Now, I would say that sounds completely unnecessary unless you're driving like across the country to where you can't possibly ever make multiple trips home or whatever. Unless you're doing that, I think the U-Haul to go to college is completely unnecessary, and it reeks of overzealous parents, or you're taking far too much stuff to college. I mean, my goodness. Like, look, I went to college 3 hours away from home. Okay, it wasn't across the country, but it wasn't next door either. Look, you gotta stuff the car full of everything you got. Have your parents drive a car separately, stuff their car full of stuff, have it be uncomfortable. Somebody's squeezed in. Your little brother is uncomfortable because he's got something on his lap that he doesn't want to hold. You don't need a U-Haul. That reeks of you're taking too much stuff to college, fair or foul, Danny.
Seems excessive.
I mean, a U-Haul to go to college, it's one, like if you're going from New York to Arizona, then okay. If you're going from New York to Ohio, then maybe. I don't know where this person's going. That's the next thing I'm going to need Dad to figure out here. But if you're going to like the difference, in this case, like if you're going from the equivalent of, Essex to Castleton, I mean, my goodness, who on earth needs a U-Haul to get that far? I mean, I look at all the state universities in New York that are within like 2 to 3 hours of where my parents live. You don't need a U-Haul to go to any of those places. You're going to come home in October break. You're going to come home at Thanksgiving. You're going to come home at Christmas for the holiday break. You're going to be home for a month. You can't slowly build your arsenal of stuff over these multiple trips. And of course, you're going to come home at some point just to come home because you're a freshman and because you want to. It's going to happen. That's it for us. Go download the podcast, everybody. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and WDEVradio.com. Thanks to Danny. Thanks to you. See you tomorrow. Thunder Road coverage begins at 8 here on DEV.
For your next